Hey, what's going on everyone? Axel here, back for a video today to talk about the new producer's letter which came out this past Saturday. I believe it was May 28th, 2016, which was a little bit of an odd day for a producer's letter to come out since it was a Saturday, not a work day for the devs, I assume, and also it was a holiday weekend. So it was a little unexpected, but we got this second quarter producer's letter that a lot of players have been asking for a while, and they decided to release more towards the end of the second quarter, which was a little different. But let's go ahead and just dive into this letter, and I'm not going to read the whole thing to you because it's here on the screen, and I'll also put a link in the description so you can check this video out yourself if you have not seen it yet. So the first thing that Severlin mentioned was lag, and lag, as we all know, has been a big issue. Ever since the data center move, the games had higher than normal amounts of lag and lag issues, and it has slowly gotten better. To the devs' credit, it was quite bad at first, but it has gotten better and better, it seems, at least. I'm not saying it's that way for all players, but it seems, at least from what I'm reading, that it's slowly getting better. So the developers had to mention something about the lag in this letter just to reassure players. I'm sure that continues to be their #1 priority, and that's exactly what Severlin says in this letter, that lag is our #1 priority. So that's good to hear. The first announcement they actually had was here in the third paragraph. They announced that they are working on a new classic module, which is no surprise. They've been hits, especially Haunted Halls was a huge hit, and it's something that players seem to really like. So I'm not surprised that they're going to go ahead and produce another module. And I don't remember exactly when they said this, but they actually have mentioned a few times, giving us hints at this early in the year. I think there was a live Wednesday lunch live stream where Severlin was on, where he mentioned that they wanted to produce some kind of classic module that would coincide with the Halloween season. So that made me personally think that they would do something like Tomb of Horrors, but they're actually announcing here they're going to do Assault on the Slave Lords, which I have not heard of. I apologize if it's a very well-known pen and paper campaign. I'm not a huge pen and paper player, and when I do play pen and paper, it's not with modules. We just make up our own game. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. I don't know what Slave Lords is all about, but it's cool that they're bringing another classic module. Looking forward to that. And I'm wondering if they're still going to do that Halloween classic module that they kind of alluded to earlier in the year, or if this is going to take the place of it. I would assume that it's going to take the place of it, that they kind of changed their minds as to what module they would do. Although to their credit, they never said that they were doing something that you would think of when you think of Halloween, like Tomb of Horrors, but nevertheless, we're getting a new module. Who knows? Maybe we'll get another one at the end of the year. I wouldn't bet on it, though, of them doing 2 modules and back to back like that, but we'll see. And it looks like it will be a level 8 heroic and level 32 legendary, so that's cool. Some more in-game content. And down on the next paragraph, Severlin starts to talk about Caneth crafting, and they want to do an update to Caneth crafting. And it's a system that I've never been super into because I don't really like the grindy nature of it. It's just too grindy for me, too clicky intensive, and it involves a lot of inventory management, which I just hate doing. So it's not something I've been into, so I'm not really that hyped for an update to Caneth crafting, but I know a lot of other players do really enjoy it, so that's cool that they'll get that. And it is a system that's been badly in need of an update, as it doesn't really do much for you past level 20 from what I know. It's really has not been touched since we've had epic levels, so it's good that we're getting that, something players definitely want. The next paragraph talks about class passes, and they announced that the next 2 will likely be the Monk and the Favored Soul. Not too surprising. Again, they have mentioned, they have kind of alluded to what classes they want to do next if you follow the dev tracker. Monks, they've been talking about this forever, how they want to change monk hand wraps. If you aren't aware, hand wraps for monks don't work like a standard weapon. It's not coded that way, and they've talked a lot about coding, making hand wraps coded to work as weapons. I don't know if that will happen in this pass, but it's an issue that I've heard a lot of talk about, particularly from the developers, because apparently there's a lot of problems with monk hand wraps because they aren't coded as weapons, which I'm assuming that's one of the reasons why we don't have, say, green steel hand wraps, for instance. But monk as a class, definitely a good candidate for a pass. They've really fallen behind ever since Armor Up, because the game's kind of taking a turn to where you really need that armor if you're going to be a melee, and I think monks relying on evasion have kind of fallen behind. Also, they're, in terms of defense and also in terms of offense, they've definitely fallen behind other melee classes. So it's cool that they'll get a pass. I know that used to be a super popular class, and it will be cool to see it return to its glory. Next is Favored Soul, another class that used to be super popular, but it's kind of fallen behind as better casting classes have come into the game. Favored Souls definitely need help. They still only have 2 trees, which is pretty nuts, and they mentioned here that Severlin wants to, they're looking at bringing in a 3rd tree. He specifically says we are looking into giving Favored Souls its 3rd tree, so that's cool. And I'm excited about this because I'm assuming that with a Favored Soul pass they will revamp War Priest, which, as someone who primarily plays clerics, that's very cool. I'm looking forward, and particularly you guys know that my main character is a melee cleric, so that's something that I'm really looking forward to, and I will definitely be giving my input on that. I would like to give input because I think I would love to see a tree that's actually worth investing a lot of points in for a melee cleric. Right now I don't think that's the case, and as you guys, if you've seen my War Priest, kind of my War Priest rant video, it's one of my high reviewed videos. If you want to check it out, just go to my main page. I'm not a big fan of that tree, so I want to see it get the love it deserves. They also mention next that they're looking to create another open enhancement tree like Harper. I personally don't really have a strong feelings for or against that, but okay, that's kind of cool. Next, they talk about the Night Revels Festival, which, if you don't remember, that was the Maybar replacement event. They would like, they're saying here they would like to add more haunted dungeons, maybe some other surprises, expand on it a bit, they said. So, if nothing else, it looks like we will definitely see a return of that festival, which I enjoyed, and I really enjoyed Maybar back in the day, and this is definitely it's always nice and fun and fits the holiday season, so that's cool. Next, they mentioned the augment system. They want to tackle the augment system and make some improvements. So they're not really that clear on what they want to do. It sounds like they want to do more quality of life stuff and make it match, make it work sort of like legendary green steel crafting. So basically they want to make it more user friendly. That's how I'm reading this. So that's cool. I don't think that augments aren't perfect, but I don't, it's okay. I never really felt like it was a system that needed a huge revamp. But okay, I'm not going to complain. And the last thing here is they talked about perhaps bringing in a few new races. They point out Tiefling and Azamar at some point. Now, this makes me think that they're probably going to do this. I guess gnomes were a big hit or made them a lot of money, or they just really enjoy working on races. That's probably not it, since they do work and got to make money here, guys. So apparently gnome was big enough of a hit for them to think about bringing in more races. However, I'm not for this. I want to see, before they bring in more new races, we need to make the races that we already have more competitive. There's a lot of races like Elf, for instance, Half-Elf, Dwarf, Shatter Kai, that really don't have a niche in the game right now, that really need to be revamped so that they're more useful. Too often today in DDO, human is the most optimal race. Now, it's cool if you want to play a race to for flavor, for fun, for role playing, just because it's your favorite race. That's awesome. Nothing wrong with that. But I would like to see more races make sense in terms of a min-max and optimization standpoint. I don't like that human is way too often the most optimal choice for a race for your character, no matter what class you're taking. And I'm not saying it's the best best race for all build combinations, certainly not. And there's some of these very rarely seen races that might be optimal for some niche builds, but for the most part, most builds in the game, you either want to be like a human or maybe like a construct if you're going to rely on repair spells for your healing. For any build that you might make, I want to see several choices that are very competitive and would make sense for your build, rather than one race being the default best for the vast majority of builds. The only real concern I have about this producer's letter is new content. Really nothing was announced except for the one classic module, and while I think classic modules are cool, I don't like that we only get one quest in one entire update, even though it will be a huge quest. What I really want to see in particular make a comeback this year is adventure areas. What I really want to see is a full pack. I just want a pack. It doesn't make a huge difference to me what the lore is around the pack. I just want to see an adventure area with 3 to 4 flagging quests in a raid, and if possible, one of those per update. That might be too much to ask for. I know that the dev team's a little smaller these days, and they've got a lot of other revamps and things they want to do, but if possible, I would love to see just a full new pack each update. That's what I want to see, guys. Mainly more content. Comment below and let me know what you want to see for the rest of this year. That's all for this video, guys. I will see you next time. Have a good one.